Hey guys, and thank you for joining me for another unboxing video. Recently, if you follow my Twitter, you would have seen a tweet that was like, I'm such an old man, I've been way into board games and card games lately. And when I say I'm like way into them, I mean I became obsessed like recently with like advanced board games and card games and fun things to play with your friends or alone, as it were. I followed like a bunch of different board game channels on YouTube and bookmarked like 4 different websites that all sell board games and card games and collectibles and all that kind of thing. And I started researching some games that might be fun to play by myself or with my housemates, and some that could be pretty good for some videos and that kind of thing. Because if you'll recall, at around Christmas time, I got Betrayal and a bunch of other board games, but Betrayal's really sort of sparked this like board game hype in me. So today I have 3 parcels to open that will contain board games, and a bonus one that isn't a board game, but I ordered at the same time and I thought it might be cool to show that too. So, in the interest of saving time and editing and saving people's ears, I've opened all the boxes already, but I'll be taking them out, all the items out, showing them off. So we'll start with this one, since it's already in my hands. So this first package comes from thegamesmen.com, I believe, and I didn't actually realise until I got here that all the games I'd selected from this website were card games. Like, I knew they were card games when I bought them, but I thought I had more board games, but they're all card ones. So I'll start off with this one because it's the one I knew I wanted like straight away. This is Friday. Friedman Freeze, I think, hopefully that's how you pronounce that, presents Friday, a solo adventure. And if you're not familiar with Friday, it's a 1-player deck building game, and I'm super into deck builders lately as well. Themed around Robinson Crusoe, shipwrecked on an island, and you play as Friday, his companion. Friday is a solo adventure. Only you can win this game. You are helping Robinson, who came ashore on your island, fight against many hazards. At the beginning, Robinson is not very skillful. With each fight he wins, he will improve his abilities, but defeats are also helping to get rid of his worse off habits. However, life on the island is energy sapping, so that Robinson not only gains experiences during his time there, but also starts aging and tends to get clumsy. In this game, Robinson is represented as a card stack of different behaviours. You are forced to improve this card stack so you can collect the cards at the end of the game to give Robinson the best chance to win against the tough pirates. So yeah, it's in this nice little box, and all the components are pretty nicely made as well, like the cards and wooden tokens for health. So yeah, I really wanted this one, and it's pretty cheap as well, and it's even got an app actually on the App Store, so I can take the game with me on my phone. And I've been having a lot of fun playing it, but obviously haven't played the physical copy yet. Next we have another card game called Flip City, and this one is for 1 to 4 players. And basically this is also a deck builder where you're trying to attain as many coins and positive bonuses as you can by building specific buildings. You might be able to see them listed on the side here. And it's sort of like a bit of those sort of, risk it for the biscuit kind of games where you keep playing cards, but eventually you might flip over a residential area, and that gives you a frowny face. And if you get 3 frowny faces in a round, then you forfeit all the coins that you would have earned that round. So you want to try and build up as many coins as you can without getting too many frowny faces. But a lot of the residential areas have the ability that once you flip that one on, you have to flip another one from the top of the deck. So if they chain into each other with the frowny faces, then there's not much you can do about it. So I haven't seen a lot of gameplay this one. I have seen a couple, enough to make me want to get it. So it says, the citizens of Flip City want you to expand and renovate their neighbourhoods, but if you ask for too much in taxes all at once, they won't be happy. To keep them at ease, you will play from the top of the deck, no hand. Push your luck, build your deck, and upgrade cards by flipping them. So I'll have to check the rules for that one because I'm not super familiar with how that one's played. I've seen a few videos on it, enough to make me want to get it because it looks cute. But I didn't really watch too many in-depth ones because otherwise it kind of ruins the fun. So that's Flip City. Next we have Sushi Ger, which is a pick and pass card game with a sushi train theme for 2 to 5 players. So each card has these cute little sushi and nigiri images. And basically you are passing away cards that you don't want and trying to collect cards that you do want to try and get big combos and points. Pass the sushi. In this fast playing card game, the goal is to grab the best combination of sushi dishes as they whiz by. Score points for making the most maki rolls or for collecting a full set of sashimi. Dip your favourite nigiri in wasabi to triple its value, but be sure to leave room for dessert or else you'll eat into your score. Gather the most points and consider yourself the sushi master. So you can see some of the cards on the back here with the different sushi types. And it's in a nice tin, nice embossed tin. I do prefer boxes, but that one's okay. I first heard about this one from my housemates who said they played with their relatives when they went on a holiday and they loved it. And they are big board game people, my housemates, but the ones they've got I think they're a bit sick of, so they haven't really played much lately. So I'm hoping that some of these that I've picked up might sort of reignite their love for board game nights. And the last one from the first box is called Boss Monster. And I really love the art in this. It's, it looks like a classic Nintendo Entertainment System, or well, I guess it's more Super Nintendo because it's sort of 16-bit, isn't it? the dungeon building card game. So this one's from 2 to 4 players, and it's sort of a deck builder in that you, the players, are the boss monster, and you use cards to build dungeons that try to entice and eventually defeat explorers of different classes. And when you defeat an explorer, you get their soul, and basically the person with the most souls at the end of the game wins. So here's what the back cover looks like. Inspired by classic video games, Boss Monster challenges you to become a villain, build a dungeon, lure in adventurers, and destroy them. Boss Monster is a standalone card game that challenges 2 to 4 players to become video game style villains and build deadly side-scrolling dungeons. Players compete to see who can lure and destroy the most adventurers, but beware, you must make your dungeon as deadly as it is attractive, or the puny heroes might kill you first. Are you a bad enough dude to become the ultimate boss monster? So you have a boss at the end of the dungeon, and that's what you play as. And each boss has different abilities, I believe. And if they make it to your dungeon, they'll do damage to you. So you've got to try and... each card is a room, and you've got to try and stack up these intricate and different types of rooms to defeat them before they get to you. So you can see they've got like the sort of pixel art cards here. And there's a lot of expansions for it. There's like a sequel that works with all these games, with all these cards, sorry. And there's a couple of different expansions, but I think there's only really one expansion that's not the sequel game that I'm actually interested in, because it adds more hero types. Whereas all the other ones sort of make it so that you can play with 6 to 8 players, but I doubt I'll ever have more than 3, so I'm not really interested in those. But yeah, I'm pretty keen to try this one as well. It looks really fun, really simple, you know. So that's the card games. Next I have a pretty heavy package. It's basically about to fall apart just because of the way that the package works. So I'm just going to slide it out. So this is Legendary, Marvel Heroes, a Marvel deck building game. And you can see we have Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Wolverine, and Captain America. And this over here is Loki, I think. And Magneto here. And this game's a lot more complicated than the ones I've shown so far. You can see that you have this big mat here. And this one is actually 1 player, but apparently it's pretty easy. The future of deck building games has arrived with Legendary, a Marvel deck building game. Legendary is the first deck building game of its kind, where the game actually fights back against the players. For the first time, Legendary will give players a chance to recruit heroes featuring never-before-seen original art, such as Iron Man, Wolverine, and Spider-Man, to defeat villains, masterminds, and their evil schemes. 1 to 5 players can play cooperatively or competitively to determine the ultimate victor. So basically what happens is you pick a mastermind who is like the supervillain. So it might be Magneto. Then they have sort of sub-bosses, regular villains that kind of go across here, and they can just be thugs or they can be other villains. And they also get evil schemes. Then you have the HQ where all the heroes start and spawn, and you buy them to build up your deck, your personal deck, to be able to fight villains and fight off schemes and hit the mastermind. So you start off with some shield agents, which just let you have a basic attack and let you have some buying points, and you sort of build up your deck to be able to buy new ones. and eventually KO old ones and that kind of thing. And yeah, you for the most part play cooperatively. So it's sort of you and your friends against the game. But there is also an overall winner who has the most, I think they're just called victory points, and you get victory points for hitting the villain and saving bystanders and that kind of thing. The only issue with the legendary games is I've heard that they take a long time to set up because of all the different decks that you have to shuffle and that kind of thing. But it can't take that long, surely. So I think it'll be okay. And especially if it's just me playing, I can just take my time and, shuffle the decks and then have a quiet game by myself, So we should be able to have a look at that one at some stage since it's one player as well. And the only reason this one came as a separate package is because I ordered the first lot from one store, the second lot from another store, and then neither of those stores had this one in stock. They had it listed but none available. So I had to get this one from a separate store again, which was kind of a pain, but that's okay because it's here now. So now it's on to the sort of final lot of games that I purchased recently. Okay. So first up, we have Marvel Dice Masters. I've never really played a dice game before where the whole, apart from Yahtzee, where the whole sort of game comes from battling with dice and that kind of thing. But I thought this was a pretty good pack. So basically you have the Marvel heroes on cards and you have their dice, and that's what you roll to sort of make them fight or defend against other heroes. And you can get like big collectible packs and that kind of thing, or you can get these sort of 2-player starter packs. So I decided to get the Age of Ultron Avengers pack because that's the one I knew the most heroes from. Unfortunately I couldn't find any Venom ones. There was a Carnage one in an Ultimate Spider-Man pack, but I like more heroes from this one. So we have Iron Man dice. Nope, that might be Iron Man. What dice do we have? We have Hawkeye, Captain America, the Vision, the Hulk, Thor, Ultron. So that must be Black Widow and that must be Iron Man, I think. So this one's sort of a 2-player one where you pick your heroes and try and like roll dice to battle each other. And yeah, there's no blurb on the back of this one, but you can see some of the cards and the different dice. And yeah, I'll definitely sort of open this up and have a look because the dice rolling sounds could be quite nice. But I don't think I'll be able to play a full game unless I play both sides. I'll see how it works anyway. But yeah, I was pretty happy to get sort of a dice. A dice game. And next up we have the beautiful game Machikoro, which is a fast-paced city-building, dice-rolling card game. So it's kind of like Flip City. This one is for 2 to 4 players. And basically you all start off with these really expensive cards that take a lot of coins to build. And if you build all 4 of them, that's when you win. And you start off with some free cards like the bakery and the wheat field, I believe. And each card gives you a coin or a few coins whenever their respective numbers are rolled. And some cards give you coins only when you roll that number, and some give you coins when anyone rolls that number. So you got to be careful what you try and roll. Welcome to the city of Machikoro, the Japanese card game that is sweeping the world. You've just been elected mayor. Congratulations. Unfortunately, the citizens have some pretty big demands. Jobs, a theme park, a couple of cheese factories, and maybe even a radio tower. A tough proposition since the city currently consists of a wheat field, a bakery, and a single die. Armed only with your trusty die and a dream, you must grow Machikoro into the largest city in the region. You will need to collect income from developments, build public works, and steal from your neighbours' coffers. Just make sure they aren't doing the same to you. Machikoro is a fast-paced, light-hearted game for you and up to 3 friends. Once you've had a taste of Machikoro, this infectiously fun game may have you wondering if the dinner table ever served another purpose other than gaming. They say you can't build Rome in a day, but Machikoro will be built in less than 30 minutes. So it sounds complicated with the collect income, build public work, and steal from your neighbours, but it's really just, I'm going to buy this card, and whenever I roll this number, I get this many coins, and then you just use those coins to buy more. So this one should be fun and pretty cute. The box that I was sent is a little bit crinkled, which I wasn't thrilled with, but I'm a gamer, I'm not a collector, so that's okay. But yeah, this one looks kind of cute. And the art's just really nice. And I think you can get an expansion for that one where it has like harbour and fisheries and stuff like that. I don't think it's called a fishery, but I think it's called the harbour DLC. DLC. The harbour expansion. And it just sort of adds more cards. Next we have a sort of a mini card game that I haven't really heard much about, right? But it was cheap and I was like, you know what? This looks interesting, if not for just like researching how to develop a simple card game myself, which I will talk about at the end of this video. So it's called Trap Zany Zombies. And you're essentially trying to trap and capture the zombies with the highest sort of point value, and at the end of the game whoever has the most points wins. And there's trap cards, action cards, and zombie cards. And a dice. Introducing Trap, the new fast-paced, deductive, dice-rolling card game system for 2 to 4 players by the designer of Killer Bunnies. In Trap, players must use their memory and handful of quirky cards to ensnare the biggest set of creatures they can over the course of the 5 furiously frantic rounds, so it's a very short game. This assortment features 6 increasingly zany zombies the players will have to hunt down, as well as an exclusive bonus link and lock card for use with Trap and Nimble Ninjas. So there's different types of trap. I like the zombies though. So this one was also sort of one that I haven't heard highly recommended, but it was also kind of cheap. And yeah, just sort of wanted to experiment and find some interesting ones, you know. So we can definitely have a look at this one. I'm not sure how long the game's supposed to last, 20 minutes apparently, because there were only 12 trap cards, 7 action cards, 6 creature cards, and 1 super trap. So I think it's supposed to be like a micro game, but that feels like for 2 to 4 players with 12 trap cards, that doesn't seem like a lot. Might be best just with 2 players, that one. And finally, the last board game that I purchased recently is another legendary title. This time it's the Encounter series, and it's actually based on the Alien franchise. The reason I got this one and the Marvel one is because while I like Marvel more, apparently this Alien Encounters one is really good for playing single player. And actually looking at the art and sort of the rules and stuff, it does look pretty damn fun. I'm not the biggest Alien fan, so I have to go back and watch those movies now, I think. So yeah, it would have been better if the Marvel one was better for first player, for one player, and, you know, looked as good as this one did. But it does actually look pretty cool, so. So you can see it has a very similar mat, except we have sort of the complex, and we have alien decks, the hatchery, you know, strikes, discards, dead enemies, dead friendlies, discarded hazards, barracks. And it's the same sort of deck building game where you start off with a crap hand, you get goals for each sort of campaign. You have to try and complete those goals to win, whilst, you know, defeating alien enemies and keeping yourself alive, you know. And I believe there's characters from the various movies involved in this game as well. So I'll read the flavor text. Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game, is a cooperative game set in the Alien universe. Players will take on the roles of a commander, a gunner, a synthetic, or any of the 10 role cards, while recruiting powerful allies such as Ripley, Corporal Dwayne Hicks, or Christie the Mercenary. Legendary Encounters will take players on a terrifying journey through all 4 feature films: Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection, as they work together to complete challenging mission objectives. Scan rooms, attack xenomorphs, avoid facehuggers, and try to avoid the ultimate death, becoming the victim of a ravenous chestburster. If a player's fate is destined to this horrific demise, then that player will take on the role of a xenomorph and try to stop the other players from completing their mission objectives. Work together or die trying. Welcome to Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game. Yeah. Game over, man. So the cards in this look fantastic, so I'm pretty keen to get into this. Again, I think this takes a long time to set up like the other Legendary, but I think once you sort of get the decks shuffled for the first time, and then you can sort of organise them, subsequent playthroughs won't take that long. You just have to sort of reshuffle instead of separating all the time. But I'm super keen to play this and regular Legendary as well. And actually, what I was going to talk about earlier is I realised there weren't that many solo sort of card games that you can play by yourself. So I came up with like this really basic idea where I was like, you know what, I want to play a zombie sort of deck builder game that I can play by myself. that changes all the time, that is strategic and a little bit random. So it's not the same game every time, but the whole game's not based on luck. And for a few weeks I was sort of working on this idea. So I've got kind of like a prototype solo card game that I want to sort of, well, first of all turn into like a video game app kind of thing, because that'll be easiest to prototype and do art for. But, I think it's fun. I have fun playing this silly little game that I made up with like pieces from other games. And it's basically, you have a deck of survivors and a deck of zombies, and you're trying to fight zombies while looking for this specific item, and you have to collect that item a certain amount of times to win. And yeah, it's still like a blossoming idea, but I think once I get a bit further with it, I'll make a video about it, and we'll play some rounds, and you guys can see if it's any good, because it's hard to look critically at your own work when it comes to things like that. So yeah. But we have my last little package that isn't a board game, but is something else that I acquired recently. Thought I might as well open it as well. So this is the Hori Fighting Commander, and it's a controller, a gamepad for fighting games like specifically Street Fighter, but also Mortal Kombat and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and that kind of thing. You'll notice it has the 4 face buttons, but also right trigger and right bumper as face buttons as well. And that's because it's more akin to the arcade sort of 6-button layout for Street Fighter, where it's, light, medium, heavy punch, light, medium, heavy kick. And the reason I got this is because I've been getting into fighting games a lot lately, like Dragon Ball Fighters and Street Fighter, and I've been looking at Marvel vs. Capcom. So I was like, you know what, I wanna, and my friend, my housemate, is really good at Killer Instinct, so I was like, you know what, anything to give myself an advantage when I played that against him. So unfortunately it is of course wired, but you don't really want wireless frequencies sort of mucking up your inputs when you're playing fighting games, especially ones like Street Fighter, which is super competitive and like sometimes frame perfect. So it's kind of like quite long, it's a bit longer than a normal Xbox controller. You can see that. And this one's apparently officially licensed by Microsoft, so. But it is sort of shorter, longer, but, lower. It does feel weird, but I think it's because you're not supposed to sort of clasp your hand all the way around. It's supposed to sort of rest on top so you can press the fighting games, and apparently people play like this a bit as well. The D-pad feels really good. It's like really responsive. Doesn't get stuck, And these really big, really smooth. Quick to push in. So yeah, I think it'll be fun using this. Now I just have to actually get good at these games, So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think I really want to try Flip City and Friday first and that kind of thing. And I've been into board games so much lately that I want to start doing some board game playthroughs and reviews and that kind of thing, so I'll let you guys know what I think of these games and that kind of thing. So hopefully you're up for that, because I think that can be really relaxing and really fun watching, because it's like, people like watching solitaire, so imagine watching other games that aren't solitaire, and something new, like refreshing, but also still relaxing and strategic, and you can sort of, play along in your head, I guess. So, yeah. But yeah, now I have a big mess to clean up, so thank you for joining me for another unboxing video. I hope you guys are looking forward to some board game videos coming up, because I'm definitely excited to play them, so yeah. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.